This is Chris from Scale. In this video, we're going to talk about the different model products that PHENOM can generate. To get to the generate capabilities of PHENOM, click on Generate, and this will switch us to the Generate mode. And then we can go over to Model Gen. Now, there are several different ways to create content, and we're going to go through most of them right now, but some of them won't be useful given the current configuration that this model is in. So there are 5 different ways that we can do exports here. In general, you're probably going to want to do full model export. This will export all of the content of the model that you're currently working in. You can also choose to do an export based on just a select number of services, or UOPs. So maybe you've defined one specific UOP and you want a minimal model that goes along with that, just the number of entities and supporting entities and attributes for that UOP. You can choose this. Similarly, you may not be focused as much on UOPs, but on views. So you could pick a set of views and also export a minimal model based on the views. You can also export based on tags. Now, this may be a little confusing, but as we talked about in the tag video, you can select a number of different elements to include or exclude based on tags. So once you've set up your nav tree, given your tag filters, that's how this item will choose what to export. But keep in mind, it's going to export a valid model or valid content as much as is possible. So you may get additional content because the tagged items might point to other information that hasn't been tagged. And finally, we have this feature here called Main Program. Main Program is particularly useful when you're doing your infrastructure generation, which is only available to PHENOM Integrator or PHENOM Basic subscribers. Now, in any of these modes, there are multiple options for what you can generate. The first 4 options are different kinds of face files. The first 3 are standard canonical face XMI exports of your model in Face 2.1, Face 3.0, and Face 3.1 formats. The 4th one, well, this is a little bit of an interesting one. This is an obfuscated Face 2.1 XMI format. Now, you might use this if you need to send your model to someone else for some debugging, and you don't want them to see any of your content. This will go through and replace every instance of, say, the word cat with the letter A, and every instance of the word dog with the letter B, and so on and so forth through all of the different concepts in your model until it's just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we're not left with any context clues for what your model meant. We have an HTML format, which takes and makes a very simple hyperlinked version of your model. There's a docx format, which exports your entire model in a relatively nice looking Microsoft Word document. There's a generic UML XMI file that you can export. This has been tested with other applications such as Spark's Enterprise Architect. Now, you may have a cause for exporting and saving all of your diagrams. So if you've built a number of diagrams and you just want to save them and include them in a report, you can export them all with this utility. This will let you generate IDL for all of your views. The rest of these are generally available to anyone subscribing to PHENOM beyond the PHENOM modeler level. Now, the Phase 3 sync, these are complete integrations, including face transport services between different UOPs. So you'll need to be in Main Program and Phase 3 sync in order to completely generate the software you need to generate. Similarly, you can generate skeleton code for your application by using the mock UOP generator. When you're in this mode, all of your current UOPs will be listed. You can choose whether or not you want to include the sync source and whether or not you want to include a main file. If you're going to be working on running the application through Conformance Test Suite, you may not want the main code because that puts a little bit more work on you. However, if you're actually working on building executable code, you might want to include that main code there. PHENOM has two much simpler transport services available as well. One uses DDS and one uses UDP. These are very simple transport services, and they are effectively just pass-through TSs. They don't do any sophisticated processing whatsoever. You may find that you want your type-specific classes generated for your views so you can develop your own applications. That's what this option will do for you. Now, I'm going to skip this one for a sec, and I'll come back. There's another option to export a .scale file. This isn't always available, but if it is, we may from time to time ask you to send us a .scale file to help you debug a problem in your model. And finally, user template. PHENOM allows you to create any number of different user-defined templates to export content in the way that you need. We can't predict all of the ways in which you're going to need your data. So when you choose user template, you can then choose any one of these formats to export and then click generate, and PHENOM will generate the corresponding output for you. Now, you can define your own templates over here in the template editor. We've provided a number of different templates for you, and if you look through them, you'll get a really good idea of the structure of the underlying model so you can write your own templates. And as you see from here, here is one that generates very basic HTML information. And here's one that will process CPP files. And here's one that will write C code for you for each of the enumerations in the data model. So while we don't have all of the possibilities documented for building templates, there are a number of examples here that will give you a really good idea of how to create your own template. You can also create your own user template by coming up here, choosing New, User Defined. Now this format is based off of Apache FreeMarker. Of course, it has to use an internal data model that gives you access to PHENOM content. Again, by looking through the examples, you should be able to see how to use that data. I'll save this. And although there's no valid user definition here, we can go back, look at user templates, and we can see the user-defined template available to generate content. Well, that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll take a look at naive merge.